The Lost Child and the Wise Owl. The last rays of the sun were slowly retreating from the sky. The horizon had transformed into a magical painting of orange, pink, and soft purple. A gentle evening breeze moved through the tall grass, softly brushing against the leaves. Birds called to one another from far-off branches, and nature itself seemed to be preparing for rest. Ela, an 8-year-old with curious hazel eyes and wavy brown hair, sat in front of her small wooden house on the edge of the village. The grass beneath her bare feet felt cool and soft. She loved watching sunsets, but tonight felt different. Inside her chest, something stirred. A quiet thrill, a deep longing to explore. Beyond the village, a great forest stretched across the land like a sleeping giant. The grown-ups always warned her, "Don't go into the forest, Ela. It's dangerous." But tonight, the trees seemed to be whispering her name. The wind felt inviting, the shadows full of secrets, the silence calming. Without really thinking, Ela stood up and tiptoed toward the edge of the forest. She paused for a moment at the path that snaked into the trees. "I'll just go a little way," she whispered to herself. "Then I'll come back." But the moment she stepped inside, the forest embraced her in its quiet mystery. The deeper Ela walked, the darker the forest became. The canopy thickened, hiding the sky above. Trees stood tall and silent on both sides of her. Twigs cracked underfoot. Strange rustling sounds echoed between the trunks. Still, something about it felt peaceful, like the forest had been waiting for her. Then she stopped. She looked around. Every direction looked the same. She turned back, but couldn't find the path she came from. Panic rose in her chest like a wave, but she took a deep breath. She didn't want to cry. She closed her eyes for a moment, just to listen. And that's when she heard it. A soft, deep voice from above. Who wanders through the woods at this gentle hour of dusk? Ela abriu os olhos e olhou para cima. Perched on the thick branch of an old pine tree sat a large owl. Its feathers were silver and white, glowing under the moonlight. Its eyes were huge and calm, wise like the night itself. "I'm Ela," she said, her voice barely louder than a whisper. "I live in the village. I went too far, and now I'm lost." The owl blinked slowly, its head tilting slightly. "I am Ruhu," it said, "guardian of these woods. I watch over those who wander, and I hear the hearts that go unheard." Ela looked up with a flicker of hope. "Can you take me home?" Ruhu spread his wings gently. "I can guide you, but you must first learn to slow down. In this forest, night cannot be rushed. You must listen, observe, be still." Ela nodded. "I'm ready." Ruhu took flight, gliding silently ahead of her. Ela followed, her feet brushing gently against the mossy path. Around her, the forest came alive in its nighttime rhythm. Crickets chirped in chorus. The trees creaked softly in the breeze. Somewhere nearby, an animal darted through the leaves. They passed a silver stream, moonlight shimmering on its surface. Ela se ajoelhou ao lado dele e mergulhou as mãos na água fria. "It sounds like the water is speaking," she said. Ruhu answered, "The night flows like water. If you don't resist, it carries you." They walked on. The path narrowed, then widened again. Ruhu stopped often to listen, and Ela did the same. The forest's sounds became clearer. The hoot of a distant owl, the plop of a frog, the whisper of wind through pine needles. Ela tilted her head and looked up. The sky had cleared, revealing 1,000 stars. "I've never seen so many stars," she murmured. Near midnight, they reached a clearing. The trees gave way to an open glade filled with fireflies. In the center stood a large, flat stone covered in soft moss and glowing mushrooms. Everything was still. "This is where we rest," said Ruhu. Ela climbed onto the stone and sat down, folding her legs beneath her. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply. The panic from before had melted away, replaced by a gentle tiredness. Just then, a small squirrel climbed down from a nearby tree and curled up beside her. "Silence isn't loneliness," the squirrel said. "Sometimes it's the kindest companion." Ela sorriu e inclinou-se ligeiramente para trás, os olhos ainda fechados. Ruhu spoke again. "In this forest, every sound has meaning, but the deepest truths lie within the quiet. When you truly listen, the path reveals itself." Ayla thought to herself, maybe getting lost was the beginning of something else. Curtain of night began to lift. The sky turned from black to deep blue, then to misty grey. Birds began to sing again. The forest stirred softly. Ayla abriu seus olhos. Morning light danced on the leaves. Her limbs felt rested, and her mind was calm. "Are you ready?" asked Ruhu. She nodded. They began to walk again. This time, Ayla noticed every stone, every bend in the trail. The forest no longer felt like a maze, but like a friend. At the top of a gentle slope, Ruhu stopped. "Look!" Ayla peered through the trees, and there it was, her village, tiny rooftops, wisps of smoke curling from chimneys, and windows slowly filling with golden light. Tears welled in her eyes, but not from fear, from gratitude. Ayla turned to Ruhu. "Thank you," she said. "You didn't just show me the way home. You helped me find something inside myself." Ruhu's voice was soft. "Never forget, getting lost is sometimes the first step to finding your way. When you become still, you begin to hear, and when you stop rushing, the path comes to you." He spread his great wings and lifted into the sky. A few feathers drifted gently to the ground as he disappeared among the trees. That night, back in her bed, Ayla pulled her blanket up to her chin and looked out the window. The stars were still there, twinkling silently above the rooftops. Ruhu's final words echoed softly in her heart. "Close your eyes now, little traveler. Let the wind wrap around you like a blanket. Let the silence sing you to sleep and drift into dreams." Ella sorriu sonolentamente, and with the peace of the forest still within her, she closed her eyes and fell into the deepest, gentlest sleep of her life.